out here, but we're going to go through our work session anyway. What we could do is take care of work session with as much questions as you would like right now. Any liaison reports, etc. We can do all now and have a subsequent meeting if you like. There's no need for executive session unless you all feel you need one.
I just had a question. I was approached today, Colin, by someone at the university asking again about a copy of the traffic study.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Is that something that you could share with the council?
Sure.
I have questions about a couple of agenda items. Probably resolve them before the meeting. The 40 Bridge Street remediation, that would be 7B on the agenda. If I remember correctly, the state gave us $60,000 to bring down that highway oil building. 54,000. Oh, and we had to match the
cost of 60, we had to match 6,000.
And at some point in one of our meetings, there was some joy because the estimate came in much lower than the 54 or $60,000, much lower. And then I believe the city engineer, Mr. Farrington, came back and told us, well, we discovered that there's these big concrete pilings underground that serve as the foundation for this building. We didn't anticipate that, and that there's some additional money that has to be spent to remove those. But that was still going to be less than $60,000, as I recall. And now we're up to 66.2, weren't we? So what happens?
Well, I did send you an email late this afternoon. I printed it out because I haven't had a chance to read it. It's a summary of the costs on the projects as best we know that shows you where the 66.2 comes from. So I don't know all the history of the project. I inherited it, but I do know that this is how we see the cost as we know that.
I didn't have time to go back and review the minutes of our council meeting for those items we discussed, but I will.
I do remember that, Mike, because we got the surprise with the additional footings underneath.
Yes.
No.
And I
But
remember
even
saying
after
that
that, was there not a sigh of relief that
it was still going to come in under, it was covered under the 6,000.
Right. Recall saying we've got these overruns, but we're still going to be well under
Right.
the total.
As I recall here, I think it was Monday with the mayor, you were questioning why the city spent $10,000 to solve that piece of property. And I asked the question, and I heard we have all this money left over. That's the roof they did rather than throwing the seed down. So I think, and I thought it was more than $9,200. I think that's where the money went. The leftover money went to sodding rather than seeding.
Does that make sense? That would have been billed invoice onto that property?
Yeah, the siding did come out of this project. It was $9,200 in siding.
As we were tracking this, I think the first estimate to raise the building was $27,000, if I recall. And then there's an overrun because we had some heavier steel beams and foundations. Another $6,000. Then the sodding, we were always under the assumption that we still, even when you had all these additions and modifications together, it's going to be well under the 60,000. So this is kind of understanding frustration that I feel is kind of strong on is no comment at all to the infrastructure division at all. But it kind of ran away from us somehow back last summer.
Who decided to put the $10,000 in the stock then? The vendor was part of the original project, as opposed to just have a site there,
Right.
parking or whatever.
Right. As explained to me, it was money that was left. So
Right.
that's why it was used.
Right. It's kind of
picked up and put somewhere where we can bring it back out. We just went dormant. We probably was. We spoke with the landscape guy to plan them, and he advised us on how to store them for the winter. So hopefully they'll take off next spring.
Will those go in the ground now?
Nope, they'll stay right in the plants.
So every year we're gonna move them, bring them back.
Okay, so where do we get this $6,200? Where, is that coming out of another fund, or?
Available on balance.
Unassigned.
Yeah, we'll have to increase the transfer to capital projects in the general fund and break it out of the
Okay. We were anticipating a deficit of $38,000, so this now increases our deficit to $44,000.
provided all those numbers work out exactly the way we projected them at.
Okay.
But of course, the jury's out on a lot of that. I mean, there's a lot of accounts that are under, a lot of accounts that are over. In general, looks like we're in a surplus situation right now, but
I was hopeful and optimistic that we could arrive at a zero balance, maybe a little better.
in about another week's time, we'll have one more month of data, and Richard's working hard to estimate where we're going to look like at December 31st, as far in advance as we possibly can. So hopefully, in a little bit of time, we'll have a better sense. And of course, as that date gets closer and closer, we're going to have a better sense all the time. But the point is well taken.
I certainly don't mean this as to cast aspersions at any one person. You guys are all working very hard. I know that.
And this didn't occur on my watch. Right?
Okay. Then may I go into my next question?
I think it's related, so please.
7D is pretty much the same thing, but I think I recall John Ruff saying at a previous meeting that this is a FEMA project, and FEMA will actually pay this additional amount. And while we can still criticize someone for underestimating what this costs, this one is covered.
That's what I said. Our
Reimbursed.
FEMA liaison told us that from his perspective, FEMA approving these extra costs is a trivial matter because it's a very small dollar amount to them and in the scope of this project. This is a $1.6 million project. And at the end of the day, there's change orders for almost $40,000. There is at least one more coming, so we're estimating that the total to be in the neighborhood of $70,000, which I think you'll see reflected in the request to increase the capital project appropriation. So the request to increase the capital project appropriation is for more than this change order. There's still at least one outstanding change order. It's a time and materials, and the engineer estimated it at about $24,000, but it's not clear exactly where that's going to come in yet.
But from, you and I went back and forth quite a bit in the last couple of weeks on this. Your sense is that FEMA will be fully compensating the city for these amounts ultimately?
That's my sense, yes.
So the time to reimburse, I would imagine, is going to be lengthy to get the reimbursement back.
Possibly.
I'm just guessing.
Reimbursement for the costs, for the amounts that are already authorized? No, I think that's Jody.
They happen pretty regularly.
Yeah.
It's like progress payments.
But that
We
was,
have to be spending the money out of our pocket and then request.
Right.
The request we
Okay.
have in for additional authorization for reimbursement, I don't have a feel for how long that might take. I haven't done a FEMA program before, and FEMA's a little stretched right now. So,
so until then, we use our money?
for cash flow,
Yeah. So this could be a 2 to 3 year,
I hope not.
no, I hope not either, but
And I think 6 months is probably what we're looking at. That was my sense when I first went to all the FEMA meetings way back when, in 2011 after the flood.
Right.
The minor projects, they pay 60,000, 70,000, just put in an estimate and they pay 'em. The big projects like this, it's, you know, about a 6-month reimbursement program. You spend the money and then you get reimbursement.
Okay.
Progress payment basis.
All right.
And obviously, we don't have the funds in the general fund, but I presume something from sewer and water or some other fund we'd be able to borrow against. And
Wherever we have it available internally, we'll be using it and not going outside to borrow. But we pay interest internally to whatever fund we borrow from and put it back as quickly as possible.
Does that address your concerns?
Is that your stomach growling, Rochelle?
Just about to say that.
I was too.
Any other issues? Reports? I can update you a little bit. This is news for you too, John. Some of you were in our council session just a little while ago. We're discussing the senior planner. And I think that they've given us a senior planner modified job description just a few moments ago, which is pretty consistent with not only what the senior planner was listed at in the county, and all of you have had a chance to take a look at that one time or other before, but I think they've also incorporated some changes that your division asked for as well.
Yes, they indicated that they thought the tweaks we proposed were going to be acceptable, but we're going to hopefully get back to us formally.
Well, they just did, just a few minutes ago, so you might want to look at that, and if so, we can send it off tomorrow and start farther down that process of
Who, did that
hiring
came
senior
from civil service or
Correct.
county civil service?
The infrastructure division was discussing modifications on a senior planner job description. And then Department Head Ruff took that up to civil service, met with them, asked, do these things sound like reasonable adjustments to the job description, civil service description? And they're responding saying, yes, that looks workable. If you accept this, by November 30th, we'll put it in place. I think we can accept it tomorrow if you all can take a look at that and see if it meets your various needs.
Most of it was clarifications on what I think the mayor really assumed the position would entail. We just wanted to make sure we nailed it all down, and it seems like they did it.
And what's the salary level associated with this position?
Hasn't been established yet.
Well, it's been budgeted for already, something in the 60s, high 60s, if I recall. That was in the budget. It was within the CDO line.
And that's, the benefits are budgeted as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
The next step, once this is formally accepted with civil service, would be to actually go through the process of filling that position. That if you all are wanting to do that right away, that could happen relatively soon as well. Obviously, we've set the budget to be effective January 1, but we're very close to getting to that point. At this point, we've only got 4 or 5 weeks left to do that recruitment. If that's where you want to go with this, but the budget's in place for it. Any other guidance you might want to offer to the infrastructure division while you're here?
I have a question or a concern. This would go to the building inspector. 6 Elm Street was brought to my attention on early release day with the school district. And it's on the report, it's about a 100-foot tree that's completely dead, repeatedly struck by lightning, and the fall zone would probably be across the street or into the neighbor's yard. So I'm looking at the tree, and other people are starting to look at it too, and there's probably 100 kids on the sidewalk. If that tree ever fell, it could easily go across. I know we have a hedge law, but what about a tree that is centered in somebody's private property? Is there can we address that, or how is that? I know it's been addressed, but it certainly does create public safety issues.
Yeah, typically that's not something that we would address unless it seemed like an obvious safety hazard. I haven't seen this tree, I did see it on the report, so I wasn't aware of it. But I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, it's you know, it kind of just glares at you as a public safety concern. I understand it's an out-of-town landlord that recently purchased the building, and somebody had indicated that the prior owner had intended to do something with it, but since they sold it, they didn't take any action. And the out-of-town landlord or owner is maybe oblivious to this situation, but it certainly could cause, I mean, it could probably go right over onto Oak Street, onto Stetson. It could go a lot of different ways. And it's been trimmed, but it's a big tree. I'd say it's probably one of the biggest trees in the city, but it's dead and dangerous.
Okay.
All right.
I can also report a little bit on the progress of the Public Safety Council. We've had 2-3 meetings. We have another one tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I don't think Councilor Casper can make it. If one of you would like to come, you're certainly welcome to. That is making a lot of progress, including, I think, Joe took a trip around, has been also traveling with the other chiefs and looking for hazardous properties in hazards like you were mentioning. And Dean has been working closely with Joe to figure out enforcement avenues to really start putting some teeth into some of these things, so that some of these properties that are perennially in the forefront of our consciousness don't go so far for so long anymore. And I think, thank you, Joe. I think you've been quite excited about some of the tools we want to give you. We're also looking, as you know, at hiring a part-time code enforcement officer to help out both with parking tickets. That's something we've got in the budget for citations, but also with snow removal as well. And we need to recognize if Joe's going to do a more proactive job with code enforcement, we have to give them some of those tools to do so, and plan to have them funded by revenue sources like parking or snow shoveling as citations. So that we'll have more discussion on that presumably tomorrow night as well, if any of you want to join us on that.
And if I could, I think initially I said 6 Elm Street, but I do see it's 6 Stetson.
It's Stetson?
Yep.
I'm also
Oh, it's Stetson. It should be Stetson. Okay. Thank you.
I've also been working with the chief of police to have liaisons with the police work with our public safety group. I'd like Brad to represent the patrol officers and work more on your ideas on community policing. And we want to work more closely on the opioid issue as well. And we'll be announcing, presumably with the chief's approval, promotion for the detectives as well to do that. So I'm pretty excited in having more people engaged in this process and being able to work on this together as well. So if you're watching for that, we'll discuss that more tomorrow night, presumably as well. And I really like the editorial in the paper today about valuing our public safety officers, police, fire. I think I sent an email to the editor afterwards saying thanks for that editorial, but let's also remember that code enforcement is an important part of our public safety, and DPW is as well, because a tidy and well-maintained neighborhood, I think, is a neighborhood that's going to have a lower level of crime. So I think this is a real team effort.
It is.
Councilor Casper, you're going to say something? Interrupted?
No.
I think Rochelle
wanted to say
Rochelle, I'm sorry.
something.
Just that minor revisions need to be made to bring the snow removal process into, it's kind of crystallizing it so that we me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hearing you just fine.
Right. So We do need to make minor adjustments to that document, make it a part of the code rather than a local law, I believe. I've been working with Dean and the mayor regarding how to do that, and so those changes should be made within the next week so that we can have a public hearing on the changes to that and have everything official so that it all the parts of the puzzle work together.
Dean, do you have anything you can bring us up to speed on that?
Nothing else to add to that, no.
And we are anxious to do whatever we need to do with any changes in code so we stay ahead of the snow season this year and not let this drag on after our first snow calamity. Anything else you'd like to add on that? Any other items?
Well, yes, I have one. This occurred to me after last week's meeting that we routinely vote for write-offs for MLD, and they're small, and we've had discussions about those and agreed that those, relatively speaking, are well within industry standards and below industry standards, which is all good, but when you add up $3,000 a month, let's say, that's $36,000 a year, and it made me wonder if we take deposits when new customers come on board with MLD.
Counselor, we're limited by public service rules. We can only take deposits from customers that we know are either short-term or are a bad risk. So anybody we ever shut off, like we had shut-offs this week, they have to pay a deposit to get turned back on.
Okay.
But new customers with leases, we're prohibited from doing that.
Okay. Is that the same for?
We get a lot more deposits these days than we did in the past.
Okay. Is that the same?
But the rules, the public service rules also is that if the person, if it's a residential customer and they pay their bills on time for 1 year, we have to return the deposit back to them with interest. Commercial, we have to return it in 3 years with interest.
Oh. Is there a credit check done on them, Bill, before they open their account? Do you know? I mean, if you have a new customer, say, that moves in from somewhere outside the city, and let's say NYSEG is at an issue with them.
We wouldn't know about that.
You've got so much transient population.
Yeah, that would be quite an expensive proposition to do. And
I just asked based on the credit risk comment.
I mean, with college students, for example, we get a whole slew of them in. What we've been trying to do with them is we get a copy of their driver's license. So if they do skip out when they finish at SUNY, we hopefully have their home address, and we have been successful in the past writing letters back to mom and dad, say they left the bill behind and they have paid. But a lot of our problems tend to be with social service customers, that they migrate a lot. Especially if they're in the heat program, they don't want to pay at all. They try to eke it out till the next winter when the heat money comes back in. And if they can't, then they do a Midnight Disappearance Act. And social services, by law, cannot provide us where they're relocated to. Lots of times they move out into NYSEG country and they do the same routine out there. When NYSEG gets on their case, then they come back into the city. Hopefully we forget about them, but we usually track them down. Now the ones that we know stay locally in the county, we do take to court and we get a judgment against them. But the judgment is only good until the next time they decide they want to buy a house, a car, get a credit card. Sometimes it's years later. We've had people come in the past 8 years after they defaulted on their thing, saying, hey, I just tried to buy a car, and they won't let me do it because I owe you $600.
Yes.
We did try one case. We had a reporter who worked for WPTZ.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah. We took it, he left
Came back a couple
and
years
came
later.
back. It took 2 years to go after him through the legal system. It cost us an extra $900 in legal fees to get the $600 out of him, but we did get $800 in legal fees back. We lost $100 on that deal. And we tried it, there was another individual who tried to
We don't need
open a
to
restaurant.
hear all the stories. That's good.
Thanks.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate the explanation.
Thorough one at that.
Maybe, Rich, could you describe to us a little bit how the move is coming along? You and some various other people have been doing some planning for that?
We've got a basic layout downstairs. We're going to use 3 offices. As soon as they're vacated, we'll start moving, and we just need to put in some customer windows, and should have enough space for everybody to do their jobs down there. We're going to keep John out of his office. We're going to kick Adam out of his office, and Jody out of hers.
And they'll be moved most likely upstairs with CDO. And we also have some space available in the assessment office. And the windows you're going to cut in are just in that hallway, I think near the elevator, if I'm correct.
Yep.
What about the HR office?
HR office, we're just talking about planning in the last hour and a half about that. Right now, we've got everybody accommodated, and that is unassigned so far. And the thought was to just leave that unassigned for now until we, rather than trying to fill all the space, figure out when for what we need it to have some flexibility.
Do we have an idea on a completion date for the move? Anticipated?
We have to be in by January 1st, so we don't get charged any rent for 2018.
And what is the workload impact on, I assume Public Works is doing are you guys doing the moving?
They may help with move. We expect to have restructuring board money that could be used to help pay for this move because it's going to result in savings over subsequent years.
So you would do outside contracting?
We have a combination of outside and internal.
We're going to leave as much stuff behind as we can.
Now, well, the reason I ask is that's 5 weeks away. So.
So what are you going to do with all the spare time?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you going to kill the 2 weeks at the end?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Right, I got
So
you.
the parking in regard to, I know that there was some discussion about maybe taking these 2 spots on the bottom of Cornelia and having them reserved for customers,
30-minute parking kind of
30-minute
thing.
parking or.
And there might be one more just a little bit farther up the street, might be able to do that as well. And there's 9 employees involved. We may try to look to relocate some of the vehicles in the side here that aren't used as often to some other location. And I think you felt that if we did that, we'd have enough room to accommodate the vehicles in here, but we need to probably do some more analysis.
And maybe park on the lawn or use a couple spaces across the street.
You know,
The back lawn, not the front lawn.
Yeah.
it might take, it would take some money, but even a restriping to, you might be able to move the spaces in another 6 inches or a foot or something per space and create another 1 or 2 spaces in the back.
Could Adam take a look at that and see how that, maybe you want to work on parking a little bit too with Rich, John? Thanks.
Bill, what are you going to do with all that space?
Well, we're moving out the building too.
Oh, yeah, duh. So, okay, yeah, duh. I'm sorry.
Hopefully we find somebody that wants to buy that. I got to work some things out with Dean here next week, but
What's your timeline?
we were looking around the 1st of April and getting out of there or sooner.
Can you sublet any of that space?
That place is a dump.
I don't know, I'm just curious.
It is.
I think that's
It may be
cheap.
possible.
I know,
We have to change locks and so
It's
forth.
bad. Back inside.
The problem is the main entrance comes into where the finance section is. So we are kind of isolated in the side of the building there. So there's no direct way into us from the outside, except for through the back door.
Make a nice bank.
Any further questions? If not, perhaps we could begin the formal meeting for the Common Council. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Joe. Roll call, please.
Mayor Reed?
Present.
Councilor Armstrong? Here. Councilor Kelly?
Here.
Councilor Dowdle?
Here.
Councilor Ensel?
Here.
Councilor Casper? Here. Councilor Kretzer?
Here.
I don't think I have any additional comments. I think I've said enough, so we'll continue.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of the Common Council held on November 16, 2017 are approved and placed on file among the public records of the city clerk's office.
Moved by Councilor Kelly, second by Councilor Ensel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Resolved that the payrolls of the various departments of the city of Plattsburgh for the week ending November 22nd, 2017 in the amount of $508,511.37 are authorized and allowed, and the mayor and the city clerk are hereby empowered and directed to sign warrants drawn on the city chamberlain for the payment thereof.
Moved by Councilor Casper, second by Councilor Kretzer. Discussion, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Resolved that the reports as listed are hereby ordered, received, and placed on file among the public records of the city clerk's office.
Moved by Councilor Casper and second by Councilor Kelly. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed.
Resolved that the bills audited by the Common Council for the week ending.
It's okay.
It's holiday
Start
time.
over.
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Take a deep breath.
Resolved that the bills audited by the Common Council for the week ending November 24th, 2017 in the amount of $1,225,039.92 are authorized and allowed, and the mayor and city clerk are hereby authorized and
You're right. I love you, Beth.
Sunshine.
directed to sign warrants drawn on the city chamberlain for the payment thereof.
Moved by Councilor Casper, second by Councilor Ensel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Are there any persons that would like to come and address the council, please?
Joe, you got something to say?
Happy to be here.
For the record.
Seeing none? Go ahead, sorry.
I'd like to make a motion to waive, no.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council approves PMLD bid number 2017-11-1.
This is a blooper reel for the.
Where's the mayor pro tem to read
First
these?
polls be awarded to McFarland Cascade Holdings Inc. in the amount of $11,040.
Moved by Councilor Ensel, second by Councilor Dowdle. Discussion? Can you do a roll call?
Councilor Armstrong?
Here.
Councilor Kelly?
Yes.
Let's just go home.
She is.
Oh, my goodness.
Contagious.
Councilor Kelly?
Yes.
Gone viral.
Councilor Dowdle?
Yes.
Councilor Ensel?
Yes.
Councilor Casper?
Yes.
Councilor Kretzer?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council approves the city chamberlain to revise project H5110.63 40 Bridge Street remediation for an additional $200 of cost to complete the project.
These are getting funnier as we go along.
Moved by Councilor Kelly, second by Councilor Casper. Discussion?
Not much farther to go.
Roll call.
Councilor Armstrong?
Yes.
Councilor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council approves the City Chamberlain to revise Capital Project H5110.59 Old Base Marina flood damage for additional cost estimated by the Infrastructure Division.
Moved by Counselor Ensel, second by Counselor Kelly. Discussion? Roll call?
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council approves change order number 2 to contract 2016-16 Oklahoma Avenue Slope Stabilization Project in the amount of $39,677.13 for a revised contract amount of $1,438,677.13.
Moved by Counselor Kretzer and second by Counselor Dowdle. Discussion? Roll call?
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
So I'd like to also hand down reappointment to Michelle Brennan to the Board of Assessment Review for a 5-year term commencing on November 22nd, 2017, expiring September 30th, 2022. Roll call, please.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
Yes.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
Just for the record, I believe there are 3 N's. I think it's Brannon.
Okay, stand corrected. Thank you. And I did meet with her, and she is very happy to continue to serve again. No travel requests at this time. Are there any resolutions for initial consideration? New business and councilor reports. At this time, we can have the public address us for any issue of mutual concern. Joe? Still good? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Counselor Casper, second by Counselor Kelly. Roll call, please.
Counselor Armstrong?
Yes.
Counselor Kelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dowdle?
Yes.
Counselor Ensel?
No.
Counselor Casper?
Yes.
Counselor Kretzer?
Yes.
The ayes have it.
I've always wanted to do it.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Irish apple, take that off the bucket list.
Happy Thanksgiving, Michelle.
You know,
I haven't ever lost it so bad. My whole time here. Every time I came to the numbers, I missed it. So Donnie would say, good job, is it okay? And then that's fine. And then he'd give me like 3 weeks straight.
Happy Thanksgiving, Joe.
well,
I think it'll be okay that
That was great.
You got something in that of yours? Some thoughts that you've been thinking?
Oh, did you? I know someone that's qualified to help install that. Yeah, I can help with it. Sure, if you install it, they can. Okay. Give me all the specs and all that. Sure. I thought somebody said you bought a big plane, you went to Texas. Someone that had. What'd you get?
My son's got the signing.
Oh, good. Oh,
Did your project
retractable too.
at the house.
Constant speed cross on that?
Your house. You did signing?
I did last year.
We talked about it, and then it didn't happen, and I see it happened. Oh, yeah, looks good. Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'm a CFI too, a double I. You ever want me to go up there?
You kidding? They charged me an extra $1,600 to take the little sign and go over because I lit on it. The paint.
Usually people steal that.
Yeah, I'd be happy. I wouldn't charge him anything, just to do it, he'd be fine, so. Cool. Take care.